You have your fear, which might become reality. And you have Godzilla, which is reality.
I'm sick of Godzilla.
Wake up, Megalon!
There are two things you don't know about the Earth. One is me, and the other is Godzilla.
We're safe now. No human being can understand that. The monsters on Monster Island can understand it.
Whether he returns or not, or is never again seen by human eyes, the things he has taught us remain.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back from the two biggest conventions maybe in the world.
Of ever.
Over the last 2 weeks, I went to San Diego Comic-Con and Jay went to G-Fest. I wish we both could have went to both.
Yes.
That bums me out. I hate so many conventions are at like the same time. It's annoying when you have to like pick something. But we're going to talk a lot about this whole episode basically is about G-Fest versus Comic-Con. We're going to talk about all the cool stuff. The cool Godzilla. There's a lot of Godzilla stuff at Comic-Con.
Yeah. Well, I think it makes sense to like compare the two because they're so radically different, but you have this common thread of they both talk a lot about kaiju. And I think that's kind of cool. I mean, we almost were like the two reporters on the scene at two different places happen at the same time or near the same time. So, hey, we want to get as much coverage of big kaiju events to our listeners as possible. And sometimes that means splitting up and going to different parts of the country to different events. So I'm pumped.
And it worked out because I was able to, kind of post a lot of the news on Twitter, which we don't use our Twitter a ton, but we try. If anybody wants to check out our Twitter, it is YHS Monster Pod. And is that what it's called? And
that's how much we use it.
I made sure to post throughout the weekend, and I even noticed, good amount of the kaiju community stealing my photos and not crediting in the reposts. So thank you, kaiju community, for stealing all my Mondo coverage. I don't care. It's fine. We're all in this together, so I'm not mad. But
leave us a 5-star review.
But maybe next time, just say I got this from YHS on Monster Island. But it was very fun. Jay, how was yours? Quick, like how was G-Fest?
Good. It was great. It was awesome. And my first time to go, and I think that's what's cool also is this is your first time to go to Comic-Con, my first time to go to G-Fest. So you're not getting this from a grizzled veteran of these that, it might be stuck in their ways. We came in there with open eyes and open minds and open hearts
and open wallets
and open wallets for sure. And I think that's extra cool, especially for those that might have been on the fence of going to G-Fest or might have an opportunity to go to Comic-Con next year. Hopefully we'll either persuade them to go or say hell no, I'm not doing that crap.
Yeah, for sure.
You have to wait and find out what we say.
Cool. We're going to get into that, but we will do, so we're going to do our pickups a little different this week. We're going to split it into two. We're going to show pickups that were not picked up at the conventions. Mm-hmm. And then when we're talking about the conventions, we'll show off the rest of the stuff.
Oh, it'll be way more organic and the flow will be better and we'll get better reviews. And they'll be like, no, and we'll get reviews.
Algorithm will be better. Sure. Jay, what you got?
Oh man. So I actually got two things, which I ordered them before G-Fest, the Sunday before, and I got them. They arrived while I was at G-Fest. Luckily my wonderful wife brought them in before they all melted in the 106-degree heat here in beautiful North Texas. But, that's the thing with soft vinyl. The good news is it all pops back into place. But two really cool pieces. One, I'm just super pumped to have. But the first one, very cool piece, 62 King Goji, 1962. This is an M1 from 2003 Wonderfest. It's a glow-in-the-dark. And this guy is gorgeous. Ooh. Look at this guy. I love this sculpt. It's a great sculpt. They do M1. Yuji Nishimura just does good stuff. I don't have to say, it's a great sculpt. I mean, it is. It's M1.
M1.
But I love glowies, but I love the paint job on this one, including like the little red middle in the middle of the dorsal spines. I think it's a kind of cool little touch, but it's a subtle, soft color, and it looks great on the shelf, and great glow. But I love this guy. I love it. But I got a bit of steal from our buddies over at Kaiju Live during their live auction. So AJ Frank Russo's, great deal. Love this guy. I did not buy it to put it on Toku Toy Town. I bought it to put on Jay's shelf because I love it. It's awesome. Now, the other one I got from these guys as well. But this is, and I know Jake, you were actually on.
Oh my God, I forgot. Well. I know what you're. I completely forgot that I watched this live stream, and I know what you're about to show me. Okay.
Yeah, and so I was talking to Jake as I was like, "What's my max on this? What's my max on this?" So I don't collect sofubi buildings and kind of ancillary stuff. I only have like one vehicle. I mean, I have a Maser cannon, right? Mm-hmm. The Marasan Maser cannon from like the late '90s. But a long time ago, the great Frank Russo, he always had this really cool, like 4 foot tall sofubi version, glow in the dark blank of the Tokyo Sky Tree, which is like one of the tallest buildings in the world, or tallest towers in the world. Might be the tallest one still. I don't know. Anyway, but it was always like everybody always peppered him over the years. Like, are you going to sell it? You're going to sell it? You're going to sell it? And he's like, no. Well, he ended up selling it. And I was like, what's my max? What's my max? And it kept on going up, but I did win it. And like I said, I don't know if I can show it on here as far as like fit it in the camera.
You can show part gigantic, of it, maybe.
But I will try my best. So I'll do it. I'll put it horizontal here. No, but it's it's gigantic. I mean, look at this thing. I mean, it is a weapon.
It looks like a giant like chess piece.
It does. It really does. But it is amazing. I mean, and you can't see here, but I mean, all of the rails and the poles and the supports and everything, they're actually in here. They're actually
okay.
It actually is really good sculpt for being such a simple shape overall, but there's detail in there. But talk about glowing. Holy buckets.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a lot of glows randomly scattered out throughout my shelves, but this thing is like a lamp. I mean, it is awesome. But I absolutely love it. I now kind of want to get more of this and create maybe some sort of awesome sofubi display or something. I don't know with the towers. I need a Tokyo tower now.
Yeah.
But it's so cool. I'm honored to have it, knowing it was in Frank's collection. He's been such a huge part of the kaiju community. And we don't blame him. He's AJ's dad. He can't help it. No, it is awesome. And I was just very, very, very happy with the price I got for it. The price I paid for it was well below what I thought I was going to, and it was amazing, and really excited to have it. It's definitely up there in one of my most unique pieces that I have, and
for
good
sure.
Conversation starter.
It's awesome, dude. I just don't know where you put something like that. You could just take all the shelves out of a DTOF and just stick it in a DTOF.
Well, and it's funny because it would be great if it was, if there was a little bit more like articulation in some of the sofubi, because I could just have them all climbing it. It would be amazing, like some of the smaller ones. I need a Mechanicon, cool. Even though, like I said, this building was built many years after those movies happened.
Right.
But like, a modern Mechanicon climbing that and fighting King Kong. Yeah, it is all fake, right? I sometimes forget that. But yes, it is amazing. Everything's fake, Jake. But yeah, I love it.
Yeah, dude.
How about you, dude?
Those are good pickups. I got one thing that I bought. I believe I talked about it on our last episode, and it came in the mail, I think the Thursday or the Friday before I left for Comic-Con.
I know you called me. You called me, and you were like, "I don't think I can go to Comic-Con. I don't want to leave this thing alone. I love it so much."
I tried to bring it with me. If you watch, Toy Anxiety on Tuesday nights at 9:30 live on YouTube, then you've seen this. But if you don't, here it is.
Go watch it.
And if you have, I'm just going to show it off again. But here's the box for this giant fucking thing.
So amazing.
I got the Kraken, the Star Ace X Plus Kraken. I could not pass this up. I needed it. I needed to have this guy, and it's amazing. It's giant. It forced me to actually do a complete over the weekend before Comic-Con, I did a complete like rehaul of my toy room. I have a couple detofs full of Godzilla stuff that you can't see right here, and I took everything out, redid it, took everything off the top because I didn't have any space for this guy, and now he sits on top of a detof. But I got the deluxe version, so he also has put him over here. He also has like a little base. It's just like a little water base, and it also came with the Andromeda, on the rock. So
that's so cool. The deluxe, the touches they put on those Harryhausen deluxe pieces are always like perfect.
Yeah,
it makes me excited to see what your thoughts are on some of the news we'll talk about coming out of Wonderfest in our news section, because obviously very Harryhausen heavy. And now that you have, you're firmly going down that path, man.
I am, and I think one of the best parts just about the world and internet and the way money works is I haven't even paid a dime for this thing yet because he's on a payment plan and they haven't even charged. They just went ahead and shipped it. They don't even charge you right away. So, but I'm all in for Harryhausen. I'm on a wait list for Guanji, and I think pretty soon here I'm gonna maybe pre-order the Medusa.
Nice.
Just have to.
And then you get that Rhedosaurus, and I think you have like a lot of the real.
Well,
maybe the Cyclops,
I want the Rhedosaurus, and they also there was another one. There's another one that you can just buy on Big Bad Toy Store, and I can't remember. One of the there's a Triceratops from, I think,
1 million years BC. Is it that one?
1 million years BC. Ymir. I want Ymir. Yeah. I want to pick up Ymir, and the Rhedosaurus are high on my list.
That's you can't forget Ymir. Yes, the design's awesome.
But those are the only two, or that's the only pickup other than Comic-Con stuff. So
nice.
Hey,
both very big though. I mean, I got a sky tree and you got a kraken.
Yeah, maybe the kraken can climb your sky tree.
Yes, I love that. Oh, that would be amazing.
Before we get into news, I know you watched something.
Yeah, so it's funny. I typically what I learned was at G-Fest, the hotel, when they switched hotels, right? So the past hotel, there would always be one of the channels, the hotel channels would play nothing but Godzilla and Tokusatsu films and stuff like that the whole time. So like when you're back in your room chilling, you just turn it on, there's automatically something on, be it Ultraman or Godzilla. Well, apparently there were some technical difficulties and that didn't happen. So I was kind of bummed because I was like, I heard about that. I was like, one of the breaks I took, I was like, I'm going to go lay down and just watch whatever's on. I don't care if it's Godzilla versus Megaguirus or if it's War of the God Monsters. I will sit there and watch it. And it was like scrambled, and there was like black. Then there was little intermittent like black and white. I got like black and white segments of Ultra 7 only in Japanese, but in black and white.
So what you're saying? Is it was better than Godzilla versus Megaguirus?
100%.
Static.
100%. Definitely better than War of the God Monsters. Not even joking on that one. But anyway. And so I was bummed. I was like, I want to watch something like I haven't seen, like a movie you've seen, but it's been such a long time. It's not like you can't fill in the gaps of like all the scenes and all that. Yeah. You're like, I need to watch this again. And I was in this goofy mood, so I watched the classic Toho Toei partnership, or was it Toho and Subaru? It was Toei, I think. Anyway, was Daigero versus Goliath, which is obviously targeted towards kids. It's a kid movie. It is a zany and silly and goofy and weird and stuff. But I was watching it, and like halfway through it, I'm like, knowing Jake's penchant for not only Tokusatsu and kaiju movies, but also like cute, kind of fun, silly kaiju. I'm like, we probably need to do an episode where
it's something I would like.
Yeah, like maybe that, and maybe compare it to another one kind of in that same ilk, right? That's more targeted towards kids and silly and fun, because there's a lot about Daigero versus Goliath that I like, and like not ironically, like I think there's some stuff that I think that's really fun and good, and it's a fun little flick to watch. So I watched that. Yeah, so I watched that, and then I watched. Was in one of those, like, I think it was probably the night or two after I got back from G-Fest, and I was getting a little like, I miss it, like, so I want to watch like a good movie, but like I wanted to watch something I haven't seen in a long time either, and I put on the original Gamera. and I forget how fun and good that movie is. Like, I think when I go back and watch Gamera, I tend to go to the Versus movies in the Showa or Super Monster because it's so bad.
Same.
But it's like we go back to like we love Godzilla 54, but the rewatchability factor. And I'm not comparing Gamera 65 to 54, but sometimes the iconic monster in a movie by himself like isn't one that we watch a lot.
Yeah,
I love that movie. It's so good. It's so fun. That Gamera is so awesome. And I just really enjoyed watching it again. It's been a while, and it made me think, like, speaking of shows we should do, I mean, at some point, we're going to have to do, like, a run of Gamera films, because I don't think we've done a Gamera film on here yet.
No, we haven't, and that's another, I haven't watched any old Showa Gamera in a long time. I'm always just compelled to watch the Heisei movies if I'm going to put a Gamera on.
And that's fair.
It's been a long time since I've watched any of those. So yeah, they all deserve rewatches from me.
And I'm still hoping for our stock footage Arama show, which is going to be Godzilla's Revenge versus Gamera Super Monster. I'm really excited for that one. But I want to bring other people on that, because if people aren't used to like how stock footage they are, they might not. They actually, you know what? They might not notice it's that stock footage, and they might be, oh, this is interesting.
Yeah.
But I think those would be fun too. But yeah, Gamera show. I think we have to do a run here at some point.
I would love to. Oh, you know what I just thought of? You know what else? I did buy something else, but it was a pre-order. Mm-hmm. I went ahead, same day that I bought the Kraken, I pulled the trigger on the Godzilla versus Ebra X Plus.
Oh, nice. Congrats, dude.
Went ahead and did it. I knew I would hate myself if somehow if that sold out or something and it was hard to get, because it's just one of the coolest figure pieces I've ever seen. So, and
it's only going up in price.
Exactly. I was like, you know what? It's expensive. Yeah. But I was like, fuck it. I need to have it. And I just went ahead and pre-ordered that thing.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, those things, I'm with you. Like, I think the ones that are so unique like that, like how many years, it's not like they just keep on churning out Godzilla and Ebra, combo, statues, right? Like, it's not like 54 or 89. We're like, you might not get that one particular thing, but you can get a 54.
Right.
They have two gigantic 54s or two or three. And Shin, they have tons of those. But like, this is one that I, like I said, it could be a long, long time before you get something similar to this. And so, yeah, it wasn't cheap, but like, I did the same thing as you. Like, I pre-ordered it and I'm ready for that bad boy to come in.
Yeah. And I mean, that's not that specific Godzilla, sculpt costume or whatever. And Ebra is not, I like that movie, but it's never been on the top of my, I need to buy figures from this movie list, but it's such a charming, fun, it's impressive. It's just such an impressive piece. So
yeah.
I'm a little nervous about what the stand is actually going to be like.
Yeah.
Ebra's stand scares me a little bit, but it's worth it. I think it's going to be worth it.
Yeah, because those, it's one thing when a soft vinyl sofubi item, even a really rare, expensive one, when it falls down, chances are you're good. But when an X Plus hits the ground, something's breaking off.
That's going to have to.
Especially something like a giant lobster. There's going to be lots of like antenna and claws and stuff.
Yeah.
So
he's going to have to go in between some other monsters or something. So he's got stabilization happening.
Yeah. Well, congrats, dude. That's a huge pickup.
Thank you. Yeah, I needed it. I needed a giant lobster toy for like $500. I don't know how much the thing cost. It was expensive.
Yeah, around there.
400 or something. I don't know. Jay, I guess there's a lot of news. So while we were at our conventions, there was another convention happening.
Yeah, there was two. I mean, I guess since the last time we recorded, the smaller one, the first one was the DNA of Tokusatsu, or Tokusatsu DNA 2022. Okay. They do that every year. A lot of cool toy reveals come from there. A lot of cool news. And it's just it's a cool event. I mean, it's both of these are in Japan, so we need a Japanese YHS on Monster Island to go to these events while we're doing the domestic stuff. But they had some really cool stuff, and I don't want to spend too much time on DNA because Wonderfest it was just over the top. Like it was amazing, and we could have like 6 shows just on the reveals they had. So I'll try to edit as much as possible. Sure. But there were 2 releases from DNA that I thought were exceptional, and I'm super pumped about them. The first one comes from a company we've talked about a lot on here, and that's US Toys, right? So we talk a lot about those guys, and we've both appreciate and love the work they do, how different they are.
Yep.
They're kind of that own little niche in,
I love
the
them.
world
Yeah.
of sofubi, but they're small, and price tag for the size to a lot of people, especially when they're new in this collecting game, scares a lot of people, right? And I get it. I know for a fact, having talked to their owner and the guy, like, I mean, he absolutely makes all of these by hand and paints them by hand. And it's crazy. So I'm going to pull up a couple. I got the, let me pull this up here real quick. Share screen here. There we go. So these are the 8 releases from US Toys. It's a Godzilla 54, 62, 64, 89, 2 Baragons, a crawling and a standing, a Gigan, and all those 7 are all Aurora style. So they're clear, they're translucent with light paint, but they have the cellophane in there, the tinsel to give that Aurora style. And then there is 1 painted Hedera, which is done a little bit differently. Absolutely adore these. So pumped. Last year in DNA, they released similar ones that were a little heavier on paint, a little lighter. They're more translucent and a little lighter in the Aurora-esque nature of them. But I thought these were really, really, really cool. And yeah, so really cool stuff from Tokyo, almost a Tokyo SOS, because that was the signature one. It was when getting close to the anniversary there, but it was the Tokusatsu DNA show. This was a star. The other one is a very, I would say, J thing, because it is the Great Angerus here. And
look at that color.
This is a Marasan, their 55 sculpt. You've seen this guy a ton in different variations. They just did a pop-up where they did the red and clear, the red clear, subtle glitter, but this was the orange clear with kind of gold accents. I absolutely adore this piece, and I'm excited that both this and the US Toys will be on Toku Toy Town as well, for those that might be.
Those are cool, man.
Yeah,
I love those US Toys.
Yeah, no, I think they were awesome. So on to Wonderfest, and I will just go in random order here.
Sure.
So a brand that has been
first of all, I missed a lot of the Wonderfest news because it was all happening while I was at Comic-Con, and I would see people post here and there, and I'm like, well, wait, what the fuck is it? I was like, I'm like on the con floor, and I'm like looking at Twitter or something, and I'm like, what is happening right now? So a lot of this is I didn't see this. I think a lot of this is going to be news to me.
That's great. I mean, I'll tell you this: the Wonderfest. This is the summer Wonderfest of 2022. It outdid the winter Wonderfest, and that was an awesome festival. Like they were amazing releases. I would say X Plus probably didn't do as strong as in the winter, but from the sofubi manufacturers, I think this was really strong. Yeah. In that winter, when we saw the brand Caractix kind of come back, they'd been around for a while, and came back, and they do these smaller, almost US Toy style, but like these fun poses, and usually comes with like an accessory. So they called this one the Hedera Nightlife one, because of, like, you see like the little downtown area with the little train going around and stuff. I don't know if the club that they're in the movies in there, they're supposed to be that one or not. Maybe, but it's the club scene. But these guys just do these kind of fun and whimsical, small, like beautiful pieces. Yeah. And this was, I think and they did one more that I know you're going to like. This is another one of their cool ones they did with Biollante. So very cool. Absolutely adore this one. I think it's a fun design. It's silly, way more crocodilian, obviously. Like because the body shrunk down, but it's awesome.
Yeah, these are cool, man. What are the size on these? They're like US Toy size, couple inches.
Yeah, I think these
3-4 inches.
I think these are 3.5 or 4 inches, maybe 5 on some of them. I don't know. I don't know if they're. It's one of the brands that I know probably the least about, because I don't own any of them and I haven't sold any of them. But they absolutely are killing it, and so I'm sure that they have very different sizes and maybe some of the other stuff. I know they did a Canagon that was really popular at Winter Wonderfest back in January, February, whenever that was. So M1 was there, and they they had one release that I'll talk about, but they had two that were really cool that they have not released yet, but they unveiled, right? The prototypes of their tricycle line. This is fake Godzilla. I mean, it's Godzilla as the skin is being ripped off. I mean, who doesn't want that on a tricycle?
Yeah, that's a cool. I love it. It's fun. I don't own any of these tricycles, but they've been weighing on my mind lately. Like, there was a vendor at Comic-Con who had about 6 of these.
Yeah,
and just seeing them in person, I was like, oh, these are great. This is something that needs to work its way up the ladder on my list. That's 100%. Cool. Yeah, it's a cool toy.
100%. So, the next one that they unveiled is this guy right here. And speaking of things you need in tricycle form, I mean, don't you need the controller of Planet X? I mean, this is amazing.
I wish they would do if they kept doing humanoid figures on tricycles and did like, what if they did the cockroaches?
Yes.
just 2 big cockroaches on a tricycle.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. And it fits in so well with, with the World Children's Land playset that we did.
Yes.
So cool.
Love that.
So from our friends over at Gigabrain, so I only have one Gigabrain, because if you remember back in Wonderfest in the winter, they did the kind of the semi-translucent with the one spine that was glow in the dark. And I don't know how well those were received. The sculpts were great. I think it was neat, but I think it was like gimmicky for the sake of being gimmicky. It's like nobody needs one row of spines that glow in the dark and nothing else. So they went back to something they know works for them, and that's gold and gold glitter. And they did their 62 sculpt here, which is really cool because I've only seen the gold in their 65. So their 62 sculpt's great. I love this thing. I think this is a really good move for them, and one that I think a lot of people are going to get. And, Gigabrain is not going to cost you as much as some of the other players out there.
Right.
So this is a really cool one, I think.
Yeah, that's a cool toy.
After this, let's see, we'll go with, let's do some sarujirushi. Now I'm going to say this right now, and it's July, it's almost August. I could be wrong by the time we get to when we're talking about the Jeffries and we're talking about Kaiju toy line of the year. So far, I think 2022 has been the year of sarujirushi. I think the stuff that they've released from their 62 sculpt, their 95, the clear face 95, the one I'll show you here in a second, they are absolutely stunning. These are big pieces. They're not cheap, but they're big pieces. And the detail is more like an X plus than a sofubi, but the colorways and in the soft vinyl material obviously are more sofubi style. I think they've blended it together perfectly. So like you can love wackiness and a great sculpt, and you can get them now in one thing. So
that's literally what I want. That's my dream. I want them both.
Yeah. And so I think this is, and like I said, these are big too. These are big signature pieces. They're great. Now this is the one that's getting all the pub. So their 62 sculpt is regarded as one of the best. I mean, you could argue, obviously Pilot Ace. I think Marmot Giant is another one in there. But wow, the sculpt on 62 is amazing. And so far, they've only released a blank blue, a blank red, and kind of a painted dark green, quote unquote, screen accurate.
Right.
This is their first kind of stylized version. And it's that, I mean, it's a little bit Dino Riders animated T-Rex coloring. It's a little bit like Giant Marmot coloring. And it just looks so amazing. I mean, this thing's like 13 inches tall. I mean, it is awesome. And so this is the one I think that a lot of people are really excited about. And to tell you how hard this one has been to get for a reasonable price, I'm not going to be able to sell him on Toku Toy because I got one and I'm keeping it. But yeah, sarujirushi just dominated with that one. So once again, sorry, this is out of order, but
it's okay.
Going back,
nobody
to M1,
cares.
I know, right? Going back to M1 and the Trikes, like this was the one they released. This is the Godzilla 2000, the Miragoge. You see Orga in the back on the box, but this is one of their ones that they released finally, and it's great. And it's a great sculpt. It's fun.
Yeah, good colors.
If the movie would have been him on a tricycle fighting Orga, it might have been better.
It would have 100%.
So here is something I know will be near and dear to your heart.
Mm-hmm.
So
Looks like a Sun Guts to me.
Oh, and there's a lot of Sun Guts. I would say Sarujirushi and Sun Guts probably one, and maybe Passion Tank. But anyway, the Godzilla, or sorry, the Sun Guts, they did a lot of stuff. This is one that kind of got missed a little bit because I believe they unveiled it and it will really kind of roll out a little bit later. So this is a third form that's this orange and green, really cool stuff. But trying to get to the,
it looks like a popsicle. I want to eat it.
It does. I'm trying to get to, here we go. Here's what Sun Guts unveiled on us besides that. These were the 5 that got everybody excited. It was the tall, the bigger version of the final form Shin there.
I need one of those. I need a final form Shin. Now this the bottom right is a new sculpt for them, is it not?
It is. Yeah, it's their 68, their Destroy All Monsters version. It's amazing. And then they have the blue King Goji in the middle. They have the GMK on the right, and they have the Nightmare Gamera from the Nightmare, the Trauma Gamera, if you will, from Godzilla, from Gamera 3. So all 3 really cool. They released all these, and with more to come later. But these were all there for purchase. Wow, amazing.
These are all great figures. Sun
100%.
Guts, dude. Sun Guts is also going in the nominations, I think, for best kaiju toy line of the year.
And don't forget him. Look at this Baragon they released. This is amazing. I love like the quote unquote realistic kind of the dirty brown and black and stuff. It's amazing.
I like his sort of stubby arms and legs.
100%. They just nailed it. So going back to Passion Tank, we had the glow in the dark. And here is they're awakened with like the metallic purple. This thing is gorgeous.
Yeah.
This thing is just amazing. And Passion Tank, like I said, has been killing it. I really think them and Sarujirushi are at the top as far as like those that are really just dominating. So so anyway, good stuff.
Yeah.
And let me see what else I have here from Wonderfest. I'm going in the wrong direction here. There's a few more I know. Oh yeah. So going back to Sarujirushi, and I talked to you about the 95 and the clear face they've had. I think this is the 6th or 7th phase of it. And this is the blue and kind of silver frosty looking 95 sculpt. I mean, like I said, I have one. They're gorgeous. And the blue is a really cool colorway. They did purple for Treasure Festa Online 7 a couple months ago. And so this is their next wave. And people were just loving this one as well. Just another different colorway for Desu Goji and in their unique sculpt. And so it's really cool. So a lot of people were pumped about this one as well.
Very cool.
Yeah, and that one will have at Toku Toy Town as well. We don't talk a ton about Art Spirits on here and their series. I know they did like their Singular Point wave, but they did release at Wonderfest some really cool stuff. These are all 4 or 5 inches, each, and they're kind of in the US term, kind of a Mezco style, that size, but it's still detailed and articulate, maybe a little bit step up in quality. But they released a really cool set because you see the Biollante in the back, and then you have a Mecha King Ghidorah and a regular 91 King Ghidorah, and then you have the 54, you have the 89, you have the 2002, but then you have Godzilla the Ride as well, which is a cool one to add in there. So
that's
a really
awesome.
neat wave from Art Spirits kind of hitting the highlights of the Heisei, but you have the one Millennium, one Showa, and then the Ride. So
now
very cool.
They had that Biollante at Comic-Con.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I think they are, correct me if I'm wrong, they're part of Bandai, right? They're one of
I think they are. Yeah, there was a whole display that had that little Biollante. Had a couple other figures from them too. So yeah. But that little Biollante is, I like it. It's a beautiful, realistic looking, but he's just so small.
Yeah.
You hold her in the palms of your hand,
I think if you go small with Biollante, you got to go cute, right? That's why like sofubi small is fine, but like if you want big, you want
sure.
Realistic, you want big, So we can talk a little X Plus and Star Ace because we'll close out on that. Yeah. So a couple big releases and prototypes like coming soon. They did the favorite sculptors line, the 30 centimeter line. They went back and did a 74 Mechagodzilla. Now this is based off of a model kit, I believe. I'm not for sure. I'm not a model kit enthusiast, but this is a really cool sculpt. I mean, it's X Plus. We know it's great, but they're trying to go back to that 74 well because they know people buy Mechagodzilla stuff because it's awesome.
Right.
The other one is I'm going to bounce around between Harryhausen, Star Ace, and X Plus Godzilla.
I saw people going crazy over this
mighty
mighty
Joe
Young.
the 1949, the original 1949.
Yeah.
It looks great. The lions. I mean, what else can you say?
That's a buy. That's a hard buy for me.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty awesome. And the sculpt's wonderful. The lions are great. Like, what a great moment to capture. Just good stuff. Just good stuff there. So the Harryhausen line is just rolling with.
They're killing it, dude. Harryhausen's killing it.
They really are. And I'm missing my other X Plus here. Let me see. They're in here. Look at all. I must have skipped some here. Let me close that out, and I'll get the rest of the X Plus. Oh, because they're right here. I don't want to. I mean, I can't have you miss out on the homunculus, man.
No, I need to see them. I need to see all of it.
Here we go. And here. So,
what is this?
This is Bato Goji from '92, Godzilla versus Mothra. There we go. This is once again a prototype. This is going to be in the 25 centimeter line, the Daikaiju series, the large monster series. So, obviously this is just the prototype. We don't have the paint on it. But 92, I have a 92. I love it. It's cool that they're coming out with another one. And mine's a 30 centimeter. It's a 25. I love it. I mean, Heisei, Godzilla, and X Plus are like peanut butter and chocolate. I mean, they're perfect. Like, there's no way they can screw it up because they just are so good at it.
If this was a 30 cm, then I would probably jump on it. Especially after us getting our 91s canceled.
So the big news out of X Plus was the next in the gigantic series is Godzilla versus Kong. So Kong is coming as a gigantic.
Cool.
And there's the prototype of it. So that was the kind of the big news out of X Plus, and a lot of people I know were very excited about that. Now you're probably more excited about this. This is the prototype we showed off, I believe, for the Winter Wonderfest or one of the events. Now this is the painted version of the Kraken bust from Star Ace, so you can get this next to your Kraken figure, and just
we'll see. One Kraken might be enough. Hey, though, I will tell you this, Jay. At Comic-Con, one vintage seller had the vintage Kraken.
No way. How much was he asking?
Dude, I didn't even ask him. I didn't even get to ask him because there were so many people there, and it was like tried to get the attention, and I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter how much it is. I'm not buying this. It's gonna be $1,000. I'm not buying it. But
100%.
Looking at it, I was like, man, it looks so good next to the other Kraken.
It would. Like Evolution, and then go to the bust, the Star Ace bust. Would be amazing. So a couple more, and then we can switch over to the other conventions that we were actually at. Yeah. So this is what I thought was, we talk about defos a lot in here. The defo reel, the Godzilla Final Wars with the little Minya, the little Manila, is a beautiful touch. But even better, a monster I probably cared the least about of any, even more less than Mega Gears, probably is Monster X. I'm just not a fan. Yeah. But when you come with the little Zillion, the X-Alien from Final Wars with it, makes it kind of cool. I thought these were really neat kind of defo premiums. Like, I think I like the accessories better than I do the actual defo reels.
Right.
Kind of cool.
Yeah, these are okay. This is a pass for me, but I like the I like them. There's something about the defo reels that is charming to me.
100%. And then I wanted to end on this one because the Golden Voyage of Sinbad, we can't, we always love the homunculus. And so Harryhausen and Star Ace are releasing one. And this is really badass. This is so cool. Look how creepy that thing. I mean, NECA gargoyles. Who needs that when you can get this thing? Good. Eat all those guys. But no, this is amazing. I thought they did the texturing there. Like, I mean, it's like it leapt off the screen. So good. So
yeah, I love this stuff. I'm getting so excited about the future of my Harryhausen collecting.
I know. But yeah, that was kind of it, man. That was
good stuff, dude.
I mean, I say that was it. That was a huge amount of reveals, and that was, I left out all the stuff from One Up. I left out a lot of stuff from the other the manufacturer we talked about. Like there was a ton of stuff, but I really focused on stuff that I thought was top tier.
Yeah, that's all good stuff, man. I'm very excited. I can't imagine being at Wonderfest, being there, especially if there's stuff available to buy. I know, right? I'd go a little crazy. I'm excited for that stuff to start hitting, man. It's gonna be good. I guess let's jump into these conventions.
The battle.
Jay, you went to G-Fest. How was it?
It was great. It was. I have a feeling it'll be a different experience, than you and Comic-Con, because they're very different. G-Fest is relatively small compared to Comic-Con, but it was great. The event itself was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All the panels and things like that really start on Friday. They have a lot of there's a movie theater just outside of Rosemont that shows a lot of Godzilla movies during that time. And Thursday they had like a quadruple feature, and then everything really kicks off on Friday. So I was there on Thursday, but I had a non-YHS on Monster Island business I had to conduct. I met up with some non-kaiju friends, even though I don't know if I should be friends with them if they don't like kaiju. But so my G-Fest, if you will, started on Friday morning, and it was awesome. And I want to lead with this, and this is totally out of order, but this is the big if you take away anything from G-Fest, it's you go to hang out with the people, right? Mm-hmm. Like this is not like the panels are what they are. There's no big huge reveals like you would have at a huge Comic-Con. The vendor room, it's great. I think it probably a little bit less for me just because I'm kind of in that world, and that's not a good or bad thing. That just is what it is. But I just want to put here's some of the people that I met over the weekend and hung out with for various degrees, and made G-Fest great. Like if I define G-Fest, I probably have to talk for 20 minutes before I mention anything about Godzilla, because it's the people that you hang out with. So I get to hang out with, and these are people, I'll start off with the people that were in our Showa Down Spectacular. So these are people in the kaiju community that I've talked with, engaged with for so long, but never met in the flesh and in person. The great Jonathan Portman from Collect All Monsters and, Ultra Goji edits and does Face the Kaiju music and Turntable Tuesdays. I met him. I met Adam Griffin from Thirsty Thursday Toys, Leslie Chambers from Collect All Monsters and Leslie Chambers Reviews. I met the great Danny DeMana from the Godzilla Novelization Project. I met Nate Marchand from Monster Island Film Vault. I met with a couple of my folks I've got really close to through Pop Shop Live that have that are just super collectors when it comes to designer vinyl. Michael Lynch and Jessica from Pop Shop Live, love those two. I got to meet the great Matt Burkett from Monstrosities, the Tokusatsu vlog, one of the preeminent, the staples,
big names, dude.
I mean, he's so cool. Kaiju Kim, I got to meet. We did some stuff with her show. Hey, a former host of ours when we did the Sofubi Jamboree, Lou Munster was there. I got to meet her and her boyfriend. They were awesome. Nick Sides, who helped out with Clawmark Toys, but he's in kind of that LA, really the whole LA crew, the Kaiju Brotherhood, the Brojiras, or whatever you want to call them. That whole crew was so fun. From just the collector community, like Tanner Steffen and Greg Fountain and Larry Latham and all those folks from that Collect All Monsters community. They were so great. I met Elijah from Kaiju Conversations, and then some vendor folks that I've engaged with, and even some I've boothed next to at toy shows, Gary at Toy Matrix, and Anthony over at Otaku America. That whole crew was so great. And I'm probably leaving out some, but just these are people that I chatted with, I hung out with, I had dinner with and drinks with, and we chatted about kaiju things and not. And that to me defined G-Fest more than anything else that was on the itinerary that was part of the programming was that. So love all those people. They're wonderful. They're great. I know there's a ton more people that were going to go but couldn't make it, or they couldn't for either health or financial reasons. And I'm so hoping I can meet them at next year's G-Fest
next time.
But it was so cool. So that was number one. That I want to get that out of the way because that's the most important thing. On Friday, the main thing was everybody wanted to get to the vendor room, right? I go down for registration. There is a hour and a half wait to get into the vendor room. There were kids sleeping overnight to be the first ones in the vendor room. I mean, it is a big deal. And you go in there, and I'll with our listeners, I'll shoot straight and stuff, and I tell the good and the bad and the ugly. The selection is for somebody that's not super like into the scene, not a whatever, is overwhelming. I mean, you go in there and they're all the heavy hitters. There's Toy Matrix over here, Otaku America and Half Baked Fantasy over here, Showcase Daikaiju, Claw Mark Toys, Radioactive Toys. I'm probably missing some. And it's just t-shirts, Sofubi, Bandai, Ultraman, Godzilla, customs, Seismic Toys was there with some of their stuff with Vinyl Odyssey stuff. Like, there's just everything. There were artists there. Matt Frank was there, and Bob Eggleton and Hiroshi Kanatani, like folks that have Toho license were there doing their stuff, and it's overwhelming. Now, is it a vendor hall that's the size of when you would see at Dragon Con or C2E2 in Chicago? No, it's smaller, but it packs a big punch. So that's a positive. It's very crowded, especially on day one, where you might be 3 or 4 people deep to even look what's on the table. It's hard to kind of hunt for deals. It's very crowded. It does thin out throughout the day, and you go at different times. But there's a risk you could lose some stuff if you don't go. A Vampire Robot was there too with a ton of X+. A lot of Harryhausen, by the way. So it was good vendors, good diversity. I would say the one, and you know what? Who else was there? The guy from YMSF, the one-man bandit from Japan. That rhymes. But anyway, he came in and he had a table, and he was just there selling all of his YMSF stuff directly and doing customs and stuff. Like, he was badass. So the cool thing was there was a lot of diversity. There was a lot of cool vendors, and it was great for somebody that just was in their collecting phase, was in the acquisition stage. Like, I want to buy volume. I want to buy everything that's cool. They're not picking and choosing rare sofubi items, right? Sure. I would say the one negative is most of the booths had some element of sofubi, but I don't think there was one that really had a ton of rare stuff. With the Otaku America has an awesome selection. That would be my one exception. But outside of him, it was kind of the stuff that you see a lot already on sale at other places. I would say that noticing it and really analyzing, I think I'm excited for next year if I get to vend as Toku Toyton. I do think I might have a little bit of a niche that's not being addressed there. But I would say that, like, for me, I didn't see anything that I had to have, any grails, any like, oh my gosh, there's a Marmot Space Godzilla, Godzilla Wars version, or there's this, that, or the other. And you're going to pay the convention prices. Hey, they got to pay for gas to get there. I get that. No issues there. But I would say that the sofubi selection was a little light for my liking. But for those that just love to collect Godzilla stuff, there was a ton. And of course, a ton of artists and things like that. Right. Not as many as there used to be, and we don't have to go into that controversy because I don't have the time or the patience to talk about. So it could have been only been better. Shit. Yeah, so it could have only been better. But yeah, so the vendor room is, I would say, the second biggest highlight. So number one is the people and connecting and forming those relationships, and number two is that. And I would say right after that, kind of the third part was really cool for me were the special guests. So you had Hiroyuki Kawase from Godzilla vs. Megalon, Godzilla vs. Hedorah, played Kenyano and Hedorah, and Tomoko Ai from Terror of Mechagodzilla, who played Katsura, also Ultraman Leo. They were awesome. Yeah. The autograph room, I walked in there on Friday. I was the only one in there.
What?
So I'm just sitting there with their translators, like just chatting and stuff, and they're signing things. And they were just so nice and great. And they couldn't be more different. Like, that was what struck me. And when they did their panel or their interviews, Hiroyuki Kawase, like, he's very like soft spoken. He's very, I don't know, like, he's not super emotive, but he's very nice. But his story is, he was in these roles as a kid. His parents like made him be an actor, and he kept on doing it. And he wanted, but he only wanted to go to school, like the opposite of all of us, right?
He didn't even want to be doing it.
No, he was like, it was great. Like, he turned down like a longer role on one of the Ultraman series because he wanted to stay in school.
Right.
And after that, he stopped acting. He became a pilot. I mean, he's a pilot. I mean, he's a successful dude.
That's awesome.
And he comes and like, because he appreciates it. And he's so
That's
nice
so cool.
and very professional. And you can tell, I mean, like, he's one of those guys, like, that was a different part of his life and he embraces it. But like, he just, you know, it's funny. Like, all of his answers were like, they wanted more, like, hey, like, why didn't you do this and that? And he's like, guys, I just wanted to go back to school. I wanted to do that. He goes, he was a serious kid.
Yeah.
And that was it. So
that's
cool.
awesome, dude. What, since you're talking about him, I'm gonna jump in and I'm gonna go ahead and show.
Oh yes,
that I sent this to you to add his signature to this photo, and I love this so much, Jay.
Two more to go.
Thank you for bringing this with you and getting that added onto there. Awesome. Yeah. I wasn't at G-Fest, but I still
there in spirit
reaped the benefits of it. So thank you so much.
That, no worries. But on that, he actually, when I showed that to him, he looked at it and he was like he said something in Japanese I could interpret.
Yeah,
like he was pointing. He could tell he was visibly excited about seeing the suit. I can't forget his name off the top of my head. Of Jet on there. So it was really, really cool. But really nice guy. And then on the opposite end, Tomokai, like, I mean, she's like 70 years old and like hasn't aged. Like, I mean, she is just this, like, you walk in like I mean, she's a very small lady and just a big presence, like, so like well put together, smiling, and just, you could just tell she's loving it and embracing it. And so nice. Her panel was opposite. She wanted to talk about everything. She was like very charismatic.
She's into it, huh?
Oh yeah. And so wonderful and super nice. And I actually got a couple things autographed from her. But and actually, real quick before I go on, I should say this from back to Hiroki Kawase. Like, I got this autographed. I don't know if you'll see it, but it's an old trade magazine advertisement for one of the Godzilla festivals where they would do. I forget the name of them. They did the where they would show all the kids movies and stuff.
Yeah,
where, like Godzilla versus Megalon. I mean, all the Showa era stuff. Anyway,
awesome.
I found an ad because it had Megalon and Jaguar on it, and he signed that.
That's so cool.
But back to Tomokai, like, she was so great. I went back a second time to get something else autographed, and her daughter was there with her, right? And with the translator, but her daughter speaks really good English. And what I got autographed, and I'll show that because it helps with the story, is this insert from a Terror of Mechagodzilla Laserdisc. And why I got it autographed here, right there's her beautiful signature.
Yeah.
Is it has a lot of pictures of her, but it also has like a lot of the cool scenes in the movie. And she starts pointing to a behind the stage photo of her and Ashiro Honda and Akiko Harada. And she's like, you know, she's talking about Honda. And her daughter goes, we used to live down the street from him, and he would call her, he goes, he was like a grandpa to me and would call her Gigi. And so her daughter was telling me this. I'm like, this is the most amazing thing ever.
That's
it's just me
so
and them.
crazy.
We're the only ones in the room.
You're just getting your own panel.
Yeah.
You're just like,
and she's so great. And you could tell like she's like excited.
So awesome.
And so that I would say was probably my third thing.
That's the kind of stuff I would be so excited about going to G-Fest, is meeting some of these actors and getting their autograph. And I mean, Jay, you also sent me this, and I wasn't expecting this. And man, I wish you would have seen me at work today when I opened this. I was so excited to see this.
No worries, man.
That's so cool, dude. That's such a cool experience. I'm glad you were able to go and talk to them and get that.
Yeah, and then the other kind of 2 points of kind of my top 5 things about G-Fest.
Sure.
The movies and being able to go to the theater and watch Godzilla on a big screen. I don't care how many times you've done it in your local, like, it's still cool, especially when you're in there with you know, hundreds, if not thousands of other like Godzilla fans. And so I did go to the Saturday night, late night showing of Terror of Mechagodzilla. Tomokai came back and waved and then left, but it was really cool. A great theater, renovated and just beautiful. And so that was super fun. I wish I would have got to see the quadruple feature, maybe next time, but there was really cool stuff there. And then last, I want to talk a little bit about the panels, because we talked about them on the last show, right? And I went to a few. You never go to as many as you plan, right? Just things happen, right? I did go to the Godzilla versus Gigan one because I wanted to see one of these panels, like how deep they go at a Godzilla convention. It's, you know, we talk about movies all the time on here, but we're not there analyzing analyses of analyses, right? Like it's pretty top line and more just our opinions. These were deep, and I'll give Danny DeManna some credit. He was a little bit like the de facto host and really stole the show. He shared so much information that like even Godzilla super nerds might not even know everything. And then I forget one of his panelist partners' name. I think it was Brian Shersel, maybe. He does Kaiju Vision. He's his degree, like his background is in like international business and politics and things like that. So he took it to a whole new level. He was connecting the fact that why they chose the corn cob and the banana to be the featured fruits and vegetables to where the Japanese economy was in importing goods to non-native foods, and kind of where the economy was and why those were symbolic of Japan in the early 70s and beyond. And I'm just sitting there like, I did not think we were going to get into a discussion about the corn cob and the symbolic nature of the corn cob in Godzilla versus Gigan. But that's a snippet of how deep some of these went.
Yeah.
And now the cynic in a lot of us can go, okay, if you think hard enough, you can analyze anything. Maybe they just picked a corn cob because it was a fucking corn cob and it was right there on set and they had a prop. Right. You don't know. But it was interesting to see how people's brains work, and it was really cool. I really did. I did dig that. So that was one that I went to. I did go to the. Did you know they made a toy of that panel? Which was
that sounds like a fun.
Yeah.
Panel.
Cloverfield was mentioned a lot.
Okay.
Cloverfield toy. A lot of the stuff we knew. Some of it I didn't. They went through like hundreds of toys related to really random shows, almost more than random toys, right? Like it was more about, they made a Daigero's mom sofubi, which is super rare, as opposed to, they made a squeaky plush hammer of King Ghidorah, right? Like that. It was more like focused on like the obscure shows, but that was cool. I really enjoyed that one. And then I did go to the Tokusatsu panel, some of the other like YouTubers and podcasters and stuff. And that was cool because this, they're people that we know or have engaged with. And that was neat. Oh, and Jake, there's one other panel that was really cool. And it was my the most challenging panel viewing, because maybe the number one and number two panels that I wanted to go to were at the same time. Luckily, the two, and you probably didn't have this at Comic-Con, we'll find out later, but the halls that these were in were right next to each other. Like literally the last door in the back on one and the last door in the back on the other were literally like 15 feet from each other.
Were you going back and forth?
I was.
Were you like...
I was. So I wanted to see the Collect All Monsters panel was, Leslie Chambers was kind of representing the core group. And he was joined by his wife, Sandra was there. She's also a collector. Yeah, she's also a collector. And then Jonathan Portman, our good buddy, Jonathan Portman, really cool guy. They did a kind of a Collect All Monsters, just like what they like and things. And it was a really cool panel. I really enjoyed it. And I was hopping back between that and Matt Burkett and Ed Gajkowski. I always forget how to say his name, but the famous, historian for Godzilla. They hosted
Godzilla Illustrated Godzilla Encyclopedia. I love that book.
Yeah. Well, they were in person hosting Norman England's. He was live via satellite, like he was zooming in. And he was talking about his Behind the Kaiju Curtain book that, when he was basically for a long time, like on set with all the makings of all these Godzillas at Toho. And he shared some video and images from those shows that didn't even make in the book that nobody's ever seen before. He was showing all of this cool stuff from like GMK, the set of GMK, and like how the production was done, all this type of stuff, like intimate images of like the lady, I forget her name, that was the suit actor for Baragon and GMK. Yeah. And so it was really cool. Matt did a great job. Ed was great. And then, Norman England's just a wealth of information and knowledge. He's one of the guys that just knows stuff. And it was literally on set for these movies.
That's awesome.
But the cool thing about that panel, what I caught was, and it worked out. I think the good part of the Collect All Monsters panel was the beginning. And I think the cool part of the Norman England panel was the end. And that's kind of how it worked out.
Good.
Because I caught his like video. But the one thing I wanted to say from that panel that it blew my mind is he had these images from the rafters of on set, like looking down on set, and the scale of some of these sets that they built for that, like to me, like I just didn't grasp how large some of these sets were, because they would show it, and obviously you'd see Godzilla or Baragon there, and you know that's a little bit bigger than a human, right? Because it's a suit, and you see that in scale to these massive, like 50, 60, 70 foot wide sets with the mountains and everything, and it was just jaw dropping. It makes me appreciate. I think all of us love Tokusatsu for the practical nature of it. Like these miniatures are built, these sets are, these suits are being built, these sets are being built. Everything is very practical for the most part. And that one took it to a different level of appreciation. It was so cool. And I was talking to Matt Burkett after one of the panels about it. And he was like, yeah, like some of the, like, it's insane what goes into building some of that with all the pyro and everything like that. And so anyway, so those are, I mean, that might've my favorite panel if I combined them together, because I felt like I didn't know where I was, but those were really cool. And Matt and Ed, and then Jonathan and Leslie and Sandra did such a good job hosting these. And those were maybe the highlight from a panel standpoint.
Dude, that sounds so cool. I'm picturing you though, running back and forth.
I was literally,
awesome.
It was me and
I love it.
And who else? Oh, it was, I think Danny Demanda, I think was as well. Like, I think it was him that was bouncing back and forth. Like, we just want, you want to see them all?
You want to see everything.
Collect them all. You want to watch them all.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, so
cool.
That was a cool one. And then the other thing, the last thing I'll end with is there was just a lot of other stuff that I didn't even really take advantage of at G-Fest. Like they have a whole arcade room that's every Godzilla game ever made.
I saw some pictures.
Yeah, from that. They brought the Godzilla Wars Jr. little fun game from Godzilla. There's pachinko in there and pinball. They had a room that was constantly screening kind of indie films and other things from like SRS Cinema. I didn't take advantage of that as much. And I peeked into the diorama rooms and the art rooms and stuff like that. Very cool stuff, but you just need more time. I'll be smarter about it next year, right? So that was cool. And then I'll end it on what I picked up.
Let's see it, dude. So that's what I'm waiting for.
I know I really focused on the folks the vendors that I know and I really appreciate, and I've engaged with them. I wanted to support their businesses. So from Otaku America, I picked up this really cool M1 Gezera. It's really cool.
Yeah, dude.
Blue and pink and kind of like this stony brown gray color. And I have the all gold one, so I might have to start collecting I might have to do with Gezera what I did with Biogoji over there. But I love this old sculpt, and they do a great job on these wacky colorways.
Love that.
So I love this one. And then from the great people over at Seismic Toys, I got, I love Gilala, and I got what I'm dubbing ketchup and mustard, these two blanks of yellow and red blanks of Gilala.
Love
and
that.
And look at these guys.
The condiment collection.
I know. They had an orange one that I missed out on. I was like, there's my Thousand Island dressing or special sauce, secret sauce, Big Mac sauce. But anyway, so those are my pickups. And then so to wrap it up, huge turnout. The rumors are 6,000 people. The last one had about a little less than 4,000. So huge turnout. Tons of kids. So the future is strong. The people were saying that like the hotel, that this one was much bigger, and that obviously made it a little bit easier. And my biggest regret is I missed the costume contest, because I've heard that, especially the little kids that do it, is some of the best. Now I saw a lot of the costumes there roaming around, but there were some awesome ones. And luckily a lot of it was captured on video. You can go on YouTube and check some of this out, but it was just amazing. The images and the videos I saw of it, but I did miss it. I just had some other things that overlap, but that would be my biggest regret. But overall, I had a blast, and so happy to meet everybody that I got to meet at the show. And that's G-Fest in a nutshell.
Dude,
it sounds large nutshell.
It sounds awesome. I saw some footage of the costume contest. Looks so much fun. Yeah. And I've seen a lot of people on Twitter who've been, to G-Fest multiple years say that this venue is way better than what they've been. I've seen a lot of people just say that everything about it was better. Yeah. I mean, that's awesome, dude. I'm jealous you got to go. I'm excited you got to go. I'm like kind of embarrassed that I've never been, and like I don't know. I hope some dates move around. I know Comic-Con's dates are already been announced, and it's around. It's basically the same time. So I know G-Fest is probably also going to be the same, but we'll see. I don't know if they've announced those dates yet.
You might just have to do I'm going to go for 2 days of G-Fest and just go fly straight to San Diego.
Yeah, that might be fun, dude. I'll do it.
Yeah.
So my Comic-Con coverage, it won't be quite as in depth or long as yours because there's not as much Godzilla stuff happening at Comic-Con. Yeah. Now, the first Godzilla related thing that did happen was there was a panel, and it was like the past, present, and future of Godzilla, and our good friend Attack Peter was on the panel. I got to meet him. That's say awesome. Hi. Such a cool dude. One of the first things I got, he gave me this little pin. He came up to me, said hello, and gave me a little pin of his little buddy here. And everything with his artwork on it is amazing and perfect. So he seemed to have such a good weekend. Like I kept, just seeing all the pictures. I was at Comic-Con, but I was still jealous seeing his Comic-Con experience because he's everywhere. He's killing it at the Mondo booth. And he was also great on the panel. The panel was it was cool, and he was awesome on it. No news coming out of the panel. I kind of a bummer. I kind of thought it was going to be news, when it's called the future of Godzilla, and the moderator, I forget his name, but the moderator, Chris, who works for Chris Mallory. So I was kind of, and Brian Flynn of Super 7 was on the panel. I don't have all their names here, but someone from Mondo was. I thought Mondo was going to they had a projector. They were showing stuff on a projector, so I was like, oh, cool. Mondo's going to show some new Godzilla stuff. Super 7 is going to show, and there was none of it. The only thing they did say is that they did tease that Super 7's probably doing like Shogun Rodan, coming forward. And the only other thing that was said was somebody asked the question about, Toho's been doing all the big anniversaries. They're doing Hedera right now, and next year is Megalon and Jet Jaguar's anniversary birthday, and they did say they're going to be treating those two characters the same way they've done Gigan and Hedora, but they also said with a focus on Jet Jaguar, and I love that. That's not no part of me is ever going to complain about getting Jet Jaguar stuff, but we are in. I went to Comic-Con and bought like 6 Jet Jaguar things. That's insane. The fact that it's 2022 and I grew up loving Jet Jaguar as a child, thinking, oh, surely everybody else in the world thinks this is stupid. And now I'm at the biggest convention in the United States, and I'm like, wow, Jet Jaguar is everywhere.
Oh, but and Jake, a year after he starred in his own Netflix series.
Yeah, for sure. And while I'm excited that the focus is on Jet Jaguar, I hope they do not neglect Megalon, because I would really, really love to see Megalon get dude. That that glitter, that Night Raid glitter Gigan.
Yeah.
If they put out a Megalon like that next year, I will shit. Like I need Megalon everything. So but the panel was cool. Not a whole lot of news out of it, but it was still fun. Now I was going to the Dynatopia panel, and it was canceled.
What happened? Do you know?
I don't know. We got there. We got to the panel, and we were like about to go into the room, and the lady was like, "Well, this is it." She's like, "There's no panel after this," and we're like, "Well, in the books it says that there's the Dynatopia panel." And she goes, "Oh, that's not on my schedule." And we were like, she was like, "This is the last panel of the day," and I'm like, "What?" So she went in and asked somebody, and then some other people showed. There were other people that wanted to get into the Dynatopia panel, and we were like, "What's that?" We were all confused, and apparently it was updated like in the app. That it was canceled, and there was no info. No, don't know why. It was canceled. So
I hope that's not
no
a bad
Dynatopia
sign
panel
about the show or anything. I hope that's not a.
Yeah, me
man.
too, man. I don't know, but yeah, it was canceled. So there were like two. There was a comics Godzilla panel that I did not get to attend, and there was also the Science of Singular Point, which I did not get to attend. So I went to that one main panel, and that was it. But I did so for some of the booths at Comic-Con and the way Mondo did it. So at Comic-Con, they have a thing called preview night. Mm-hmm. So not everybody goes to preview night. That's a part of like a higher price ticket. And as press, we got preview night. So we get to preview night. We're in the press line. They open the doors. People start running to get to the to like Mattel or Mondo or whatever to get there, because it's all exclusives, right? Yeah. Now Mondo had this thing where they ended up opening it up to the general public like later in the day and later in the weekend. But in the beginning of the convention, if you wanted to get Mondo stuff, you had to have won like a lottery to get in.
Wow. And
luckily, one of us won the lottery for preview night. So we were like, we get in at 7. The doors open at 6, 7 o'clock. We have access to Mondo. The only issue is that Mondo has different exclusives every day. So like I can go in and get the things that were released on preview night, but if I want something that doesn't come out until Thursday or Friday, I got to come back. Yeah. So that was kind of a pain in the butt. But since I had it for the first night, I did get to go. And first thing I picked up at my Comic-Con was this guy. Look at that.
That's amazing.
I've said before that I was only going to pick up the jet that we already got. Mm-hmm. But this colorway, this rose gold, pink the and gold and clear. Yeah, the cherry blossom. I love these colors, man. Like it's just, I know he's not showing up too great, but
also like on top of that, colorways aside, like that's a token of your trip. I mean, that is like, something that represents San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, something that you had, how you like, there's a story behind it. And so I think that goes into it. So, I mean, even if it was a crap colorway, you should have got it because it's going to have that connect.
They also had for sale the white one with the real red cross on him.
Oh yeah. The medic version.
That's not for me. I part of me bought it. Part of me almost bought it just because I was like, whoa, there's another one. Yeah, I better get another one, but it's like another $95 or something, Yeah. So, but this coloration, the Comic-Con one, I love it. So I was able to pick that up first night, and also first night, I went ahead and I don't know how well this is going to show either, but I did.
Oh, I know what this is. I'm so jealous,
dude. I would have grabbed you one. I told you. I did pick up, I don't know how well this is showing, and it's a Mondo print. So, but I did go ahead and grab the Godzilla versus Biollante.
So
they had that. Oh, and then a surprise at the Mondo booth, something they did not have posted online, was that they had pins in there. They had 6 pins. 3 of them were not Godzilla related, but 3 of them were. Our dude, Tom Whalen, he kills everything. The print was a beautiful, and then look at that.
Yep.
Jet Jaguar pin, and then 2 different versions of the Godzilla Tower.
Yeah, that's the
red. Yeah, the red and the green.
Those pins, I think, might have broken the kaiju side of the internet. Like people were like flipping out.
Were people freaking out?
Oh yeah. There was like everybody's like, can anybody pick this up for me? Oh my god, this is amazing. And rightfully so. They're pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I got in there, and it's preview night, so it's like just everything's insane. Never been to Comic-Con before. I don't know what to expect. I finally get into the Mondo booth, which is small, and you're kind of pushed in and out pretty quickly. And I'm like, whoa, there's pins. They're Jet Jaguar pins. So I'm like, I should have bought multiples, But then also the craziest thing that I haven't even mentioned yet is as you're walking into the Mondo booth, the walls of the Mondo booth are shelves with, product on them.
Yeah.
And some of the product is already out or stuff that you already know. But then I'm like, whoa, there's a new Godzilla stuff here. So they have the big Godzilla statue of there's the King Ghidorah and then the Godzilla with Mothra like attached to his tail.
Yeah.
Those are new. We haven't really seen good pictures of those before, just the prototypes. And then you get around the corner, and then they have the Biolantes out. Biolante's there, the green Biolante, and then they have they call it the Comic-Con edition, but it wasn't for sale at Comic-Con. But there's like a pink, it's sort of
cherry
like a cherry blossom Biolante. And now I've said it on the show. For the Mondo sofubi things, I was only going to get the plain, green colorway Biolante and the regular jet. But then when you're standing in front of them, dude, the Biolante is huge.
Yeah,
it is huge. It is like a big figure, and I was like, I'm gonna have to get this pink one. Yeah. And they didn't sell it at the booth, but it was on sale Thursday. I did pick one up. I don't know if you did.
I panic bought both the Cherry Blossom Jet that you got in person and the Biolante. I did. Good choices.
But they also had other Jet Jaguars there that hadn't been revealed. There's like a gold glitter one. Oh, there's a red one. There's one all in red. And they have some of the older Godzilla sofubis that they did last year. Some of the Hedorah is there.
Yeah.
The statues, the Attack Peter, all this stuff is here in person. But then there's one piece that no one expected, just sitting there on the fucking shit. Nobody talked about it all weekend. They just put it there. Space Godzilla.
Amazing.
Dude, it's beautiful. Like, I know we had a conversation about Mondo sofubi not having some of the charm of actual sofubi.
Yeah.
And I still feel that way about some of it.
Yeah.
But it feels like maybe they listen to what people say and they're trying harder to make these pieces be worth it for us to pick up. Space Godzilla is 100%. And there's not a lot of Space Godzilla out there. I don't see that much Space Godzilla sofubi. There's like, how many companies make a Space Godzilla sofubi?
The Marmot ones have like 5 or 6 variations. Those are the expensive ones and hard to find. Like that. I mean, to your point, like I've been on that charge as well. Like I'll buy the sofubi from Mondo, but like it doesn't. There's something missing, and we've had that conversation.
Yeah,
but like when I saw that Space Godzilla and the Space Godzilla Marmot Godzilla Wars variant is like in my top 10, I want this. I started thinking more about this Mondo, and like that's how good. Like it just even, and you saw it in person. I just saw it from on photos, and I'm like, this is what they need to do. You've hit it. Like
they're all dude, they're great, and also the sizing on these guys are. I'm like, these are big. Space Godzilla is big. Yeah. They're all beautiful looking figures, and I was super excited to see what Mondo's doing. And hey, if they're putting out a Mondo, I wonder if we just cracked the code of what poster Wayland's working on next. Is he doing a Godzilla versus Space Godzilla? There's gonna be a Godzilla versus Space Godzilla poster to come out with that. I was able to get back into the Mondo booth like later on that weekend, the last day. Something that I saw and said to myself, probably will pass on that, but then also saw it in person and picked it up, was the Jason Edmondson little Godzilla. I had to get that. Yeah. I do not have his burning Godzilla that kind of doesn't really go with this, but is in the same style.
Yeah.
But now I want to get his burning Godzilla. It's a bigger. This also has a cool little Toho stamp on the back,
nice.
Little Toho Mondo stamp. But I couldn't pass this up.
Yeah, that's on brand for you. That's on brand for you, man.
Let's see. So let's see. I'm trying to see what I got here. Another booth that had some exclusives over the weekend was Super 7.
Yeah.
And Super 7, I was also able to pick up my stuff on preview night. This shirt, which I had never seen before. I don't know if this is a shirt.
Best shirt at the convention, maybe?
Yeah, they had a couple Godzilla shirts. They had a Godzilla kind of in the same style. And then they had on hand their, I know you've seen, they have like a Mechagodzilla and a King Ghidorah like sweatshirt.
Yeah.
I've always really loved those, but it's really hard for me to pay $75 for a sweatshirt.
Yeah.
They had them there, so almost bought one, but I'm like, I live in South Georgia where it's 105 degrees. I'll never wear this, so I did not get it. But I was able to pick up this shirt. I did pick up some other non-kaiju stuff from them, but while I was there, I did pick up the
nice
Godzilla Reactions.
Yeah, the glowies.
I don't even have their regular reactions. I have the first few that they put out, the Shogun and but I did not buy like the other 6 they put out. If I ever saw them in a store, I would pick them up, but I don't like them enough to order them.
Yeah.
But the glowies are awesome. These are really
packaging
cool.
is great.
Godzilla 54. I like that they're glowies, but they're still like, Mechagodzilla still has that red and the silver.
Yeah.
And then another fucking Jet Jaguar. And I love the way he's like partially colored and partially not. I love this packaging. I love that it's got the it's shaped, but all this shit's getting opened. All this is getting opened. I don't have room for these in package. I just don't. I got room for tiny little reaction figures. I don't have room for packaging. So these will get opened.
I love that.
I'm going to open them tonight, actually. I've been waiting. I was like, as soon as we get done recording, these fucking boxes are getting open. There was a lot of... Now, if you'll check out the YHS YouTube, I did film a small video. There's a lot of Godzilla stuff there. IDW had a giant...
I forgot about this.
Like a 20-foot tall Godzilla photo op. You take your picture in front of. They had the Godzilla pinball machines there.
Oh, yeah, nice.
The artist Shag had a Godzilla exclusive print. Monster Arts was there. They had an exclusive. It was a Kong figure holding the Mechagodzilla head.
Oh, very cool.
But they had all their Ultraman figures. They had a bunch of Godzilla stuff. They also had like a good 5-foot tall Godzilla statue on display. There was a lot of Godzilla there. Let's see. There was more than that. Mezco fucking had a ton of shit. Mezco. Yeah. So I got to see the Mothra Twins and the Mothra in person. You mentioned this before. The faces on the Mothra Twins are not the greatest thing in the world.
No.
But I love that set. I love that set.
Oh yeah.
I will order it. They also had the Hedorah set, which is cool. But then they also had the big $450 I think it's 2 feet over 2 feet tall. The big Godzilla
with all the lights and sounds and walking.
All the lights and sounds. Yeah. And I didn't pre-order that thing. I was just like, oh, something about the pictures don't look great to me.
They weren't. No, I agree.
In person, it's one of the best looking things at the convention. Wow. I was like, I'm all in on this. I'm buying this thing. I saw they also had the Kong. There's like a Kong the same size. Don't care for the Kong that much. It's not really the Godzilla. I feel like they nailed the Heisei likeness. It looks, but the Kong almost feels like they did their own thing with it. But then they also
giant gorilla.
Yeah. But then during the convention, they also revealed, second day in, they revealed like a 9-inch version of that same Heisei Godzilla. It's like the same exact figure, but just smaller. They announced a Mechagodzilla set. Now they didn't have
the I-beams. The I-beams.
They didn't have that there. I was looking for it. They didn't have that on hand, but they announced that. And then they also had, so they're going to be released down the road, but they were selling them there ahead of time, kind of as an exclusive. But you could buy a set of the Destroy All Monsters Godzilla and the King Ghidorah that have already come out, but they were like translucent. Like translucent. Set. Yeah, translucent yellow and green. And then they had a Godzilla by himself that was just like translucent blue.
And I think that actually the radioactive set, I think, is actually up for pre-order on Mezco's site.
Yeah, I knew that. So they had them there. You could just get them, or you could pre-order them if you weren't at the convention. They're cool and they're pretty. The blue Godzilla on his own was $30, and I think the radioactive set's $50. Yeah. But I did not buy them just because it's I don't know. I was like, well, I'll just go buy a sofubi if I want blue translucent instead of a little. I don't know. It's just like it wasn't a must have.
It's very like Bandai movie theater exclusive esque.
Yeah,
they would do like the colored translucent ones.
It's cool, and I was happy to see that they had something like that. But yeah, if you check out the YouTube or the YouTube that you're watching this on, just scroll down a few videos. There is a Godzilla at San Diego Comic-Con video, and it's just like a short 5-minute tour of me showing you all the Godzilla stuff that I found. And there was also a vendor there that had lots of sofubi, and he had now I don't know if Jay, if you noticed the Shin Godzilla in the video, the tall one up on the top, $8,000 for that. I don't know what it was.
I just thought it was an X Plus like gigantic, but I guess apparently not, because that would have been like 2,000 maybe.
So, I thought it was too. So I've never seen an X Plus gigantic in person. I know they're big. Yeah. But this seemed to me that seemed bigger than what an X Plus gigantic. It was huge. Maybe so I don't know if it was an X Plus or not, but it was not sold that weekend. I'll tell you that. But I did pick up 2 things from him. Nothing crazy, but just 2 kind of figures that I just, I needed. You were talking about M1s earlier. Yeah. I just got 2 M1 figures. I got this little boy, this little cat boy. Faves. Yeah.
I love their interpretation of the 64. I love the cat. It's one of my favorites of that, and it is it's a cool unique take on 64. I love it.
Yeah. This is one that I know, like, he's fairly available. A lot of people have this guy, but he's always one where anytime I see him, I'm like, I'm going to pick him up one. I got to get him one of these days. He's not like an important piece of the collection, but he's just so dang cute.
He's awesome. Yeah, I think that's a great piece. It's one of my favorites. I absolutely adore that. And it's funny. It's like we talk about there, not a rare piece or whatever, but still they're probably only like 250 of them ever made, or 500 maybe.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, you're right.
It's all relative, right? It's not Hasbro and Mattel.
You're right.
I know, right?
The other figure I got from him, also an M1, but I got this the Megalon Skull.
I love that one.
And he's a peachy blank, which I don't think is my favorite. Not something I would usually go with, but I really like this sculpt. And I was talking to you off air. Maybe I'm gonna get someone to customize this one for me. I've never done that. I've never had a sofubi cut. Have you ever had a piece, a blank?
I haven't commissioned any. I've bought some customs. But they weren't my customs, so I never fell in love with them. I thought they were kind of cool, but then at some point I'm like, it's somebody else's custom. But I have not had anybody commission anything. I haven't found the right piece, and I'm so wishy-washy. I'd be so terrible to tell them what I would like. And so I haven't, but it's a fun. It's almost like its own subculture within sofubi collecting, because there's so many great customizers out there.
It's not a world I've ever super I'm not familiar with all the customizers, but I think I'm gonna dip in a little bit and see what kind of works out there.
Maybe I can get ketchup and mustard customized.
Dude, let's do it
or something.
Let's get
yeah.
Other than that, though, I love this little guy. He's got the best facial sculpt. I just love it.
I love it. No, those M1s, the non-blank ones, are highly sought after. Even that one is very highly sought after as well. And but yeah, it's the peach beige flesh tone, whatever you want to call it, it's interesting. But I think it would actually make for a cooler customization, because think of all the cool colors that you can do with that peachy undertone. I think you could do some really cool stuff. I think immediately of the blue illustrated 54 that you have from Metacom, the Sovi Life one, the long neck one, because it has those peachy undertones under the blue around the lips.
Yeah.
How cool does that look? And then you look at that, it could be super awesome as well.
You're right, dude.
Yeah.
I think I might have to do something like that. That's about it from Comic-Con, honestly. It was fun and it was overwhelming. I'll definitely be going back. Our press passes are good for 2 years, so I'm already I already got a ticket for next year. So I was surprised at the amount of Godzilla stuff. Very pleasantly surprised. I loved it. It felt a lot like when I went to Toy Fair a couple years ago. it was very similar. I was not expecting so much at Toy Fair, and it was the same thing. There was Godzilla everywhere, and as an adult now who grew up loving Godzilla, but thinking, like you feel like you're the only one when you're a kid and you don't have friends. You go to a school where none of your other friends even know what Godzilla is. It makes you feel like you're crazy, or that maybe you're the only person who likes, like maybe Godzilla is not this big popular thing and you're the only person who likes it. But then, I'm an adult and I'm at Comic-Con for the first time, and there's Godzillas everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah. No, it's
everywhere.
It is amazing that is kind of where we're at now. It is awesome. Now I have a question. Did you have a chance to see any of the Attack Peter, the Takuro versus Godzilla stuff?
I didn't even see his print, but I did get to see his Tokoro figure. He brought it to the convention, and as soon as I saw him, he shoved it in my face, and I was like, "Whoa!" It was awesome. He's super proud of that thing, and he should be, because that's a beautiful toy, and I did get
Kickstarter, people.
I did get to see that figure. Yeah, please get on the Kickstarter. That guy, dude, he's already blowing up, but I feel like in 2 years he's gonna be the kind of person that, this year, he talked about it. He was just kind of floating around from one booth to another booth. I feel like in 2 years or something, it's gonna be like, oh, we know that guy. Like he's gonna be a big staple of Comic-Con. You could tell, man. I was really happy to meet him. So
very cool.
Yeah, dude.
It sounds like what an awesome experience. So how does Comic-Con kind of rate or fit in with, like, because I mean, not many people have had the opportunity like you have to go to in the last, I get Toy Fair 2020 before the pandemic, but like you have Toy Fair, you've been to Star Wars Celebration, which is a giant event in Anaheim. You've now gone to Comic-Con. You go to Dragon Con. You've been there a zillion times, which is the second or third largest pop culture convention. Like, you've been to these massive tens of thousands, 100,000 people type events. Like, where does Comic-Con kind of, like, how does it compare to those other experiences?
It's number one. 100%.
Awesome.
It's 100% number one, especially because I was expecting Comic-Con to be like stressful and insane and so packed, and I thought it was going to be the most walking I've ever done in my life. I brought
Star Wars Celebration, right?
I brought my hiking shoes with me, and I just was expecting it to be like kind of grueling.
Yeah,
and I expected that because I went to Star Wars Celebration just a couple months ago, and Star Wars Celebration killed me. Like it was walking nonstop. Everything was really far away from each other. We also did Disney 2 nights in a row. So, there were days when we were in California for Star Wars Celebration that we were doing like 18 miles, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like in a day. And it's like, my feet were dead. I caught COVID at Celebration. Like all kinds of, like, it was just, Star Wars Celebration was grueling. And then it's all Star Wars stuff. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, all right, more Star Wars. But Dragon Con is great, and it's fun, and it's one of the funnest conventions I've ever been to. But the dealer rooms are not great. It's like the same vendors every single year. The art room is really awesome. I feel like the art room is where Dragon Con shines. But the dealer room doesn't grow very much. So it's very rare that I'm buying anything at Dragon Con. Other than,
are you listening, Dragon Con?
Other than artwork, please don't take away my press passes. Dragon Con's great though, and it's fun, but it's like you go to Dragon Con to be with your friends and dress up in costumes and like stay up all night watching people. That's what Dragon Con is.
Yeah.
Toy Fair was great, but you can't buy anything.
Yeah.
Toy Fair is an industry thing.
Yeah.
This convention was very chill. There were times where I never waited in a line longer than an hour, and the only the only time I waited in a line that was an hour was because we got there an hour before it opened. Because we were trying to get to the front of the press line, the Hall H is its own separate thing, which as long as you go in knowing you're probably not getting into the Marvel panel, then it's okay. It's different for me because we're we went as press and we found out that there's a press line for that kind of stuff. So you are able to get into maybe things like that a little easier than people who aren't press or whatever. But still, we still didn't get into Marvel. You know what I mean? We still didn't go to Marvel. We did get to see multiple panels in that room, which are great. Which is crazy. You said there was 6,000 people at G-Fest because 6,000 people is how many people fit into Hall H.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And it's packed full.
The scale is very different.
But the convention center, the way the convention center is set up is it's all in one room. Everything's in one room. And you can walk in it there's 10 different entrances, you know? It's literally Hall A through G.
Yeah.
You know, A through G is one big room. You can walk in at any of those bits, and then Hall H is on the end. So you can walk in anywhere. It was never super. Dragon Con feels more packed than Comic Con did. And then, you know, all your panels are upstairs in the upper rooms. Everything was easy to find. It was just way more chill. There's no food there, which kind of sucks. There was some pretzels, and the pretzels were good, but there's no there weren't a bunch of food vendors. Yeah, it's just weird because there's so many famous people at Comic-Con, and it's you'll be sitting there on your phone, and it's wow, I haven't seen any, because there's not an autograph room. Yeah, that's not what it's like. The famous people who are going at Comic-Con are going there to either do panels. And you'll see them on that panel and nowhere else. You know, they'll come out all the Marvel people. They show up to do that panel and they're never seen again. So it's not like you're getting. It's only when they do specials, like some comic book creators, some toy creators. You know, Kevin Eastman was there, and they'll be like,
that's awesome.
"Hey, Kevin Eastman's doing a signing on the main floor from 1 to 3, and you just go line up if you want it." We walked by and we were like, "Kevin Eastman signing right there," you know.
That's awesome.
Bruce Campbell signing right over there. You know, it was stuff like that. But then you got exclusives. You can buy exclusive toys that are not available. You're getting all these. You're getting shown all these things that are coming out this year. It's the big thing. I don't like G.I. Joe. I went to the G.I. Joe panel. I went to the Star Wars panel, and I went to the Marvel Legends panel. And all three, this is everything's coming out this year. And it's crazy.
You went to the Cobra Recruitment Center.
I went to the Cobra.
Are you a G.I. Joe fan now?
I'm not a big G.I. Joe fan, but I wanted to see what that recruitment center was, and Craig really wanted to go, so we went. Yeah. And there's cool
I would have gone in there.
Cool. And I'm like, you know what? Even though I'm not a big G.I. Joe fan, being in those rooms and seeing them get enthusiastic and cheering about these prototypes that are being shown, I'm like, all right, I guess I like this now. And then, you know, I know that I've dabbled in Masters of the Universe before. I don't buy it because I'm not into it. I tried and I sold it all. But, you know, we get there and Mattel's got a fucking they're putting out an Eternia playset, and it's the biggest fucking thing. I was like, what? I don't know anything about He-Man other than a very small amount that I've watched or bought. But I'm like, the fact that this is happening is insane. And we're the first people here to see it in person in this giant, glass case. That's the best part about Comic-Con. Showing up to NECA. And, our friend Trevor works for NECA, and we were hanging out with him, off site, and just, and we knew some of what they were releasing. Yeah. We got to see some of it months ago when we visited NECA, but we're sitting there. And there's still surprises. I'm like, whoa, I didn't know you guys were doing that. Or we get there the first day, and there's something under a curtain, and I'm like, what's under that curtain? What is that? What are they showing here? And I was like, okay, well, these are in glass cases. They're on glass shelves. I'm gonna look underneath it. So I just looked under the shelf, and you could see what's under it. And it was dinosaurs. It was Jim Henson's dinosaurs.
That's amazing.
Beasts of the Mesozoic were there selling their, they were a little rude to me. It was a little weird. They didn't seem to want to. I don't know if it was maybe I perceived it wrong. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but I tried to talk to them, and they seemed like they did not want to be talking to me. It was weird. Even like Craig and Abby were like, "That was a weird interaction." But
like, do you see this press pass here?
I was just like, I tried to be like, "Hey, I backed the Kickstarter for both of your, two of your campaigns. I own a lot of these," and they just seemed really standoffish. But I don't know. I could be reading into that. That could just be a me thing, but they had awesome figures there. I didn't buy any from them just because I wanted to kind of give myself a rule. Like, if this is easily accessible on the internet or in the store, don't buy it at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
You can get their stuff all over, but they did have the unpainted T-Rex for sale.
Nice. Oh,
and they had the full size one, the big one, and then they had like some of the smaller ones. But they were blanks. They were unpainted. And I was like, I'm not spending $200 on this and just having an unpainted. I want to get the painted version. Yeah. But seeing the size of that Rex in person was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
They also unveiled, they're coming out with like a futuristic series where they're doing dinosaur. They're basically doing Dino Riders, like their own version of it. And they unveiled some of those, and they're very cool looking. But Comic-Con was insane. It was insane.
I would say the dinosaurs from NECA, the Eternia playset were some of the two I think I saw in like my personal feed, non-kaiju related, maybe the most. That's so cool. I mean, it just I'm so happy for you guys, you and the whole crew, because I feel like as much as Toy Fair is great, and obviously the stuff you do within the Ghostbusters community, I'll keep that to the side. But like when you become press at Comic-Con, that's the ultimate like, hey, we're legit, So that's awesome that you guys got to do that and had a good experience. It's one thing to be like, you got it's cool to be able to go as press, but then like you had a good experience on top of that. There was cool stuff. It was very kaiju heavy this year.
For sure.
All that stuff was like the perfect one for you to go to.
Yeah, I was excited about it, and it's definitely the only thing is I think we're going to try to get a closer hotel next time, but
well, it was relatively last minute compared to a lot of the folks. So like, I think you guys did okay.
Sure. And it wasn't bad. They have a shuttle that goes every 15 minutes. You can just go out and get on a bus. It takes you straight there, but still it's like it's a ride, but yeah, dude, it was great, man. It's in the area that Comic-Con is in. I'd never been to San Diego before.
Oh, it's great.
In the area that Comic-Con is actually in, there's like a train coming through. It just looks really cool. They do all this promotional stuff in the yard right outside. There's like a strip with a bunch of restaurants, and people are out there in their costumes. There's blimps going by and shit. Like, it was awesome, dude. It was just like it was cool.
Well, next year we got to get YHS on Monster Island out there. We'll break all the kaiju news next year.
We could probably get you there as press. We could probably do it.
Hey, I will be there. And we can do the G Fest to San Diego Comic-Con trip together. The double shot.
Yeah, dude, we'll do it.
I love it, man. Well, that's awesome. I'm very happy, and it's between G Fest, San Diego Comic-Con, Wonderfest, and the DNA of Tokusatsu show. Like, there's a lot of cool kaiju stuff out there, and that's the key takeaway.
There is, yeah. I'm excited for the future of American and Japanese kaiju toys, shows, movies, everything we're gonna get. We're in it, dude. We're like in the thick of it, and I'm excited for all, dude. Fucking Space God! I'm so excited to get a new Space Godzilla toy. Yeah, dude. I think that's gotta about wrap that up, man. There's just a lot of stuff coming. And we're going to be here to talk about it. I think maybe next episode, we won't say for sure right here, but I think we should watch something and talk. We haven't done an episode like that in a long time. So I think maybe for the next episode, we'll talk about a film.
Yeah. And other stuff.
Another stump. Yeah. Something. I'm sure we're going to have some more toys, but I think that's it. Jay, you got anything else?
Nope. I'm good.
We're out of here.
Adios.
Peace.